There's a conversation you've been putting off. You know exactly who it's about. You've rehearsed it in your head. You told yourself you'd have it Monday, then Friday, then next week. Here's what your team sees while you wait. A leader who sees the problem and does nothing. In the military, we didn't get to wait. The mission didn't care about your comfort level. In this video, I'm going to give you the exact framework that makes accountability conversations fast, clear, and actually work. Let me start by telling you what you already know. You've got someone on your team who isn't performing. Maybe they're missing deadlines. Maybe their quality of their work keeps slipping. Maybe they've got an attitude problem that's starting to affect everyone else. And you know this. You've known it for a while. So, why haven't you said anything? Here's what most managers tell themselves. I don't have enough evidence yet. I'll wait and see if it gets better on its own. I don't want to damage the relationship. I don't know how to say it without making it worse. Those aren't reasons. They're excuses. And I don't say that to be harsh. I say it because I've been there. Before I was a non-commissioned officer, before I had the framework, I avoided those conversations too, because they felt risky, because you don't know what's going to happen when you open that door. But here's the thing about not opening the door. The room on the other side doesn't get any smaller while you wait. It gets bigger. The problem grows. The team notices, and every day you don't say anything, you're telling them something, even though you said nothing. The cost of avoidance is always higher than the cost of the conversation. When you don't address underperformance, your team interprets it, and they don't interpret it generously. Here's what they decide. One of three things. First, you don't notice, which means you're oblivious or you're not paying attention. Neither is a great look for a leader. Second, you notice, but you don't care, which means standards are optional, which means everyone adjusts their behavior accordingly, not just the person who's underperforming, but the whole team. Third, you notice, you care, but you're afraid to say something, which means the underperforming employee has more control over the environment than the person who's supposed to be in charge. None of those conclusions build trust. All of them erode it. In the military, we had a principle I've never forgotten. It sounds simple, but it cuts really deep. The standard you walk past is the standard you accept. What that means is this. The moment you see something that doesn't meet the standard and you don't address it, you have just made that the new standard. You didn't mean to. You didn't announce it, but you did it. Your team is watching to see what you walk past. And what you walk past is what they learn they can get away with. So when you avoid the conversation, you're not protecting the relationship. You're setting a new floor. And that floor is lower than the one that you wanted. So how do you actually have the conversation? Here's the framework. 3 parts. They work in order. Part 1 is the setup. Most managers blow this immediately. They build up to it. I've been wanting to talk to you about something. And the employee spends the next 10 minutes in fight or flight mode before you've said a word. Or they over-soften it. Hey, you're doing great overall, but there's just one small thing. And now you're buried to the point in so much positive framing that the other person doesn't take it seriously. The setup I use is direct and brief. It sounds like this. I want to talk about a specific situation, whatever it might be. Here's what I observed. That's it. Not, I feel like, not, I've noticed a pattern of, observed, factual, specific. In the military, we came prepared. You name the situation, you name the problem, you have a path forward before you walk in the room. You don't wing accountability conversations, and you don't make them personal. Part 2 is anchor to the standard. This is where most civilian managers lose the plot. They make the conversation about the person instead of the standard. You keep missing your deadline. Is about the person. The expectation is that deliverables are submitted by Friday at noon, and this is the 3rd week that hasn't happened. Is about the standard. One of those leads to defensiveness. The other leads to a conversation about the gap between current behavior and the expectation. When you anchor the standard, you remove yourself from the equation. You're not attacking the person. You're pointing to the line and saying, we agreed on where the line is. Right now, we're on the wrong side of it. That's what we need to fix. Here's the hard truth. If you can't point to a specific, clearly communicated expectation, you don't have grounds for the conversation yet. You need to set the standard before you hold anyone to it. I covered that in the standards video. Link in the description. If you haven't watched it, start there. Part 3, the path forward. Here's where the conversation either lands or collapses. Most managers, after delivering the hard truth, get uncomfortable and start backpedaling. I just want you to know I value what you do here. And they end without a clear outcome. The path forward is a specific commitment, not I hope things improve, not let's see how it goes next month. A specific, observable, time-bound commitment. By Friday, I need to see the specific thing you're looking for. We'll check in Thursday afternoon and see where you are. That's it. Concrete, checkable, not negotiable, and then you follow up. This is the step most managers skip, and it's the most important one. If you set a commitment and you don't check on it, you've just taught the employee that commitments are optional. You've undermined everything you just built. In the military, we called it closing the loop. You issue the task, you check on it, you address what you find. Every time, without exception. Because the follow-up is what makes the conversation real. Here's what I want you to walk away with. Avoidance is not neutrality. Every day you don't have the conversation, you're making a decision. You're deciding that your comfort matters more than your team's clarity. That's not leadership. That's self-protection wearing a leadership mask. The conversation you've been putting off is the one your team needs you to have. Not because it's easy, because it's right. Because your job as a leader isn't to make sure everyone feels comfortable, it's to make sure everyone knows where they stand and has a clear path to get back on track. The framework is 3 parts, set up with specific observations, not feelings. Anchor to the standard, not the person. Lock in the specific path forward and follow up on it. Pick the conversation you've been avoiding the longest. Use this framework. It will feel uncomfortable. Have it anyway. If you want the full frontline command accountability conversation template, including the exact language to open, the language to close, and how to handle pushback when it comes, download the free Frontline Command Field Guide. Link will be in the description. I'm Kyle Schmidt. This is Frontline Command. I'll see you in the next one.